Good evening and welcome to Focusing on You, an educational webcast sponsored by Hope Abounds. My name is Lisa Cawthorn. I'm a patient advocate that works with Hope Abounds. I'm also an oncology nurse and a breast cancer survivor myself. If you've missed any of our previous webcasts, you can go on the Hope Abounds app. You can look on our website, which is hopeabounds.org, and you can see that we focused on a lot of topics dealing with wellness, how to be a better you, whether you're in cancer treatment or you're just under surveillance now and you're trying to live a better life. So this evening, I'm happy to say that we have someone here with us, Brandia Bradshaw. She works with a company called Shaklee. And she also spoke to Hope Abounds with the 90-Day Hope Challenge, and she spoke to us then. So welcome, Brandia.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Thank you so much. So Shaklee is an eco-friendly, natural company, or I would say a company that promotes natural products.
Yes.
And they also say that they have decreased the carbon footprint with the type of products that they have. Could you expand upon that a little for me?
Absolutely. Shaklee started a very long time ago. Dr. Shaklee was our founder and actually invented the first multivitamin about 100 years ago. Shaklee itself has been in business for over 60 years, which is one of the things that drew me to the company, was that it was very sustainable and had a long-term history with a lot of research and a lot of information behind it, which isn't always easy to find on supplement companies. And we were one of the first companies to become climate neutral. There's a lot of amazing things that Shaklee does. They have different, every year they focus on different things. We've planted trees, thousands of trees around the world with different things, and they partner with a lot of amazing organizations to make sure that we're making a difference in the world every single day, not just in individual lives, but in the world as a whole.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the supplements, but Shaklee does much more than that. What are some of the other products that Shaklee manufactures and sells, I guess?
Shaklee wants to make sure that you're not just healthy from the inside, but that you're healthy around your environment as well and your outside. They've actually found that one of the most toxic places that you're exposed to chemicals is your own home.
Ooh.
Just looking under your own kitchen sink, you can find thousands of chemicals in just a handful of products, and it's really scary, honestly. So Shaklee has a wonderful non-toxic line of cleaners that can replace all of your everyday cleaners, as well as a wonderful disinfectant that is hospital grade that you can use to kill off more severe things. And we just love our products. It covers everything from our laundry detergent to our dishwashing detergent to our window cleaners. And I can use it for everything in my house from top to bottom. And not only is it more environmentally friendly and non-toxic, but it's also less expensive than what I go buy when I walk into a grocery store, which is pretty impressive that you can have the best of both worlds.
Right.
They also think about what you put on your body externally every day. So when you think about your skincare and when you think about your shampoos and your deodorants and your body lotions, all those things are often filled with toxins and chemicals. There was a test done at one point on a newborn baby to see when they were born, after being in utero, how many chemicals were they born with, because that's what they just got from their mother. It was over 200 chemicals in a newborn baby just from what they inherit from their mother being inside the womb. So we're exposed constantly from every direction of all these toxins. So Shaklee realized that a long time ago. So they wanted to make sure that the environment around you with your cleaners, that the skincare that you used on the external of your body was just as good for you as all the supplements that you're putting in your body to make sure you stay healthy. And of course, for a lot of people, weight can be a struggle, and they realize that as well. So they launched many years ago a weight loss line, and it's been phenomenally successful. It's the 180 program, and it's one of the things that in my own family, my husband used and lost over 70 pounds and has maintained his weight loss over the course of the last 3 years. It's very impressive.
That is impressive. So then you probably have a personal story on your own journey and using Shaklee. What was that?
Shaklee started for us as a mom on a mission. And if you're a mom out there, you know whenever something's wrong with one of your kids, you go to the ends of the earth to make sure that you can help them or fix them, especially when they're as young and can't fight for themselves. And at the time, my son was about 4 years old, 5 years old. I noticed he got sick very easily, and that getting sick turned into he would start spiking these terrible fevers. At one point, they were so high he was hallucinating. It was very frightening for me, and nobody could explain to me what was going on or why he was getting sick. And we prayed over him very hard, and we were blessed with the fevers disappearing, but the fevers damaged his immune system, and he was very weak. And so by the time he started kindergarten, he was in and out of the doctor's office constantly. If he caught a cold, he could just not quite get well. He just never was quite 100%, and he didn't have all the energy of a 5-year-old, 6-year-old boy that
And
you
they have a
expect
lot
to
of
have,
energy.
and they do, and my son didn't, and it was concerning me. So, I began going through the normal process. I would go to my pediatrician, and we'd have these conversations about the issues that we were facing, and they would give me a medication for him to try. And we went through that process for about 1.5 years, and at the end of the 1.5 years, they had him on 3 different medications, and he still wasn't better. He was minor. Occasionally, he seemed to be okay, but he still wasn't who I knew he needed to be. He wasn't healthy. And when I was told by a medical professional that it was perfectly normal for my son to be sick this much, I said, "You're wrong," and I walked away. And at that exact moment in my life, God put a woman in front of me who introduced me to Shaklee. And I'd known her my whole life, and I knew what she did. And honestly, I was the biggest skeptic out there because I had tried a lot of things along my path as far as vitamins and homeopathic remedies and different options that other people had brought to my attention. And I thought, well, this is just another one of those things that I'll try and waste my money on. And she explained the Shaklee difference to me. And the Shaklee difference is really what got my attention to start with. And once I saw the results of that difference is how I stuck with it. But Shaklee does over 80,000 quality control tests on supplements, and they spend over $250 million a year in research on their products. These are numbers that you don't even see sometimes from your own pharmaceutical grade companies as far as research and effectiveness and making sure what's in the product is actually in the product. So she told me Shaklee guaranteed that their product was always safe, that it would always work, and that it was effective. And if it wasn't, I could return these empty bottles and get my money back. And I said, well, what do I have to lose? Put me all in. So what we did for my son was we changed all of the cleaners. I literally went through my house and I pulled out every cleaner under my sink in my laundry room, and I put it in a box and I threw it away. And I took every supplement that I had been buying from other stores, health food stores, local stores, the things I had kind of collected that I had heard were good. And I said, well, I'm not going to know if this Shaklee thing works unless I do it all the way. So I was all in. I said, I was at my wit's end with my son, and I knew something had to change. And so we went all in, and I changed the cleaners. I started him on a regimen of their chewable vitamins, their probiotic, and an immune booster that they carry called Nutriferon. And I put him on all of those things. And they said, if you'll stick to this the way you would stick to a prescription, you can't be halfway. You can't give it to him a couple days here and forget and do it a day, a week, and it's going to work. You have to use it the way it's made to be used, or it's not going to do what it's made to do. So I said, okay, I'm going to follow instructions just like this was, my doctor giving me a prescription saying take 2 a day, take 1 a day, so forth. And that's what we did. It took about a month. And I remember my son was running in circles at bedtime and couldn't settle down. And I looked at my husband and I was like, wow, he's really energetic. This is interesting. I don't really remember him being this hyper before. I wonder what got into him. And it took a couple of nights. And by the 3rd night, I kind of said, gosh, do you think it has something to do with these vitamins? And my husband said, well, maybe. We'll see. Let's just stick with it. And over the course of the next 6 months, I saw my son turn into who I knew he could be. And I always get emotional whenever you can help your child and see them get healthy and get well. It was the best feeling in the world. And at the end of the 6th month, he was off of all of his prescription medications.
Wow.
And we have been on Shaklee with his regimen, and we've added things to it as he's aged and come up with other things such as allergies and anxiety. And we've been able to add things to his regimen to keep him out of medication and out of the doctor's office. He hasn't been to the doctor for a sick visit since he started on Shaklee but one time.
That's a blessing.
It's a huge blessing. And of course, we started my daughter on it right after that because we didn't want her to go down that path. And she's been extremely healthy as well. And as a whole, our household very rarely gets anything that puts us down for more than a day or two. And my children are in public school, so to be able to say that they've avoided the flu without taking a flu shot, to be able to say that they've avoided some pretty serious stomach bugs and severe colds and different things that have taken their classmates out of class, sometimes for a week at a time, taken their parents out of work, to be at home with a sick child, just all those things that having a sick child can add to the stresses and schedules of your everyday life as a mom anyway. Just having that relief off my shoulders was incredible. So that started our process in Shaklee.
And how old are your kids now?
Chase just turned 12. My daughter just turned 9.
Great.
They're doing great.
So your whole household sort of went in that direction.
Yes.
So when you did a presentation for Hope Abounds on the 90-Day Hope Challenge, what did you focus on then?
We focused specifically on supplements during a cancer patient's treatment and after their treatment.
Okay.
I am not a doctor, and we will always tell people they need to consult with a medical professional before they would start any type of supplement or medication, just like their doctors would tell them. Shaklee was not put into place to cure or prevent any disease. It's there to be an addition to your everyday healthy living choices. And so we always recommend that our people, our customers, go talk with their doctors first. That's
Excellent
most important.
advice.
Absolutely. But we specifically talked over a presentation that one of the doctors that works with Shaklee had put out there for cancer. And we went through some of the specifics of certain supplements that are very helpful during that process. Your gut health is so important. And so much of your immune system lives inside of that gut. And a probiotic is a fantastic addition to that regimen to keep your gut healthy during that process. And there's a million probiotics on the market. You can buy a probiotic in every grocery store and health food store and online and all these different places. And people would say, why would I choose this over anything else? Shaklee has so much clinical research and scientific backing that it's quite shocking. People are amazed, nurses, different people in different professions, when we can show them that there's peer-reviewed white papers that have supported things that Shaklee has been able to claim. It's not just a shot in the dark, or that they've tested certain things that happen to work and they pull pieces in different things. They actually do an amazing job in research, trialing, and making sure that the information out there is at our fingertips so that we don't have to be the doctor and understand everything, but that we can do our own research and take control of our own health, which is what I had to do for my son and what I had to do for myself and what my husband eventually did for himself. I think each of us, that's something that's so important, that we have to know that at the end of the day, we really do have to advocate for ourselves and take control of our personal health and decide what decisions that we'd like to make along that path. So we love our probiotic, and it's different because it's actually triple coated. So most probiotics, when they hit the stomach, are going to get eaten up in the stomach acid and not take care of what they were intended to take care of. This one has 3 coatings on it. Some of it's going to dissolve in the stomach, some in the upper intestine, some in the lower intestine. So it actually goes through and puts that good stuff in all the right places. And your other ones typically will never do that, or they can claim that they do it, but they have absolutely no proof to back it up. And we do.
And for people who don't know, what is a probiotic?
A probiotic is actually designed to help your gut health and increase the healthy flora. A lot of the times with lots of medications, you're killing the healthy bacteria in your gut. And when you kill that healthy bacteria in your gut, your immune system is compromised. That's what had happened to my son. He had been on antibiotics many, many times over the course of a 2.5-year period with all these different infections that he was having, respiratory, sinus, and what I didn't understand at the time, and what nobody could explain to me, was he had killed his immune system through that process in his gut. So that's super important for that piece of the puzzle. Other things that we love to have, the vitamin D is such a fabulous supplement in that course of treatment. And we have wonderful full meal replacement protein shakes. And the wonderful thing about our protein shakes is there's no artificial sweeteners, no artificial colors, no fillers, nothing that you wouldn't want to find in there. And they test our product. You may see an organic label on a shake in your health food store, but if they don't run the test on the product, the label can say anything it wants. So my personal choice for Shaklee was because they can prove it to me. And that's a big difference from other things. So that protein shake has 24 grams of protein. It also has pre and probiotics built into the shake. And I know a lot of the times with cancer patients, it's difficult to find anything that's appealing to eat, and you can drink these.
Right.
And they very easily digest because of the pre and the probiotic. But they also fill you up with the protein. They give you lots of the vitamins and the minerals that you need. And it's so important to have that nutrition because you still need your cells to maintain their health. So not eating it all is also never a good option if you can avoid it.
And I think the protein is sometimes difficult because you may not have a big appetite or you may be tired. So the protein is very important as a building block, but if it doesn't taste good, you need an easier way.
Exactly.
Of course, we all would say it's good to get all our vitamins and our nutrition through eating, but that's not always possible, as we know.
Right.
You'd probably have to eat all day to do that.
Exactly. And the thing is, and they've proven this to this point, even with if you ate organic food all day long every day, even that no longer is going to provide all the nutrients and vitamins your body needs because the soil's been depleted. And the thing about labeling something organic, Shaklee actually doesn't label a lot of things organic because they go beyond organic. You may have an organic product that sits in a field that happens to sit next to a field that's not an organic field, and his runoff may get into that product. And while they did everything they were supposed to do to label it organic, it doesn't mean that they tested it to ensure that there was nothing in it that shouldn't be. There is another piece of the Shaklee difference. They test everything to make sure there's not something in those supplements or those shakes that doesn't belong. Because the last thing you need is some strange allergic reaction to a supplement because it had something in it that wasn't on the label.
Right. Are there any precautions? I know you said to always talk to your healthcare provider, but the physicians that work within Shaklee, are there precautions that they talk about to cancer patients undergoing active treatment?
Absolutely.
Have you heard anything about that?
They do get into more specifics about active treatment. There are different sides of the coin about antioxidants and when you should and shouldn't take them. And there is some recommendations for certain treatments. You wouldn't want to take those at least for 3 or 4 days prior to and after a treatment. Those are things you want to get real specific with your doctor about as far as, you know, what you are taking and once you aren't, how many days before or after a treatment you might want to back off of or not take certain things.
And again, to check with your medical oncologist, your radiation oncologist, because they may have a particular viewpoint, and it's always important. The other thing I read is something called St. John's wort. Do you have that available? Because that, although effective, that can also have side effects if you mix it with
other things. We do have a product that has that in it, and that is one of the things on the label that tells you to consult because there can be interactions with certain things on that particular one. It's only in something called our mood lift, which is if you're struggling with depression or the highs and the lows, we have a product for that. But certainly there's definitely interactions you want to be aware of.
Right. Some of the websites that I have sent cancer patients to in the past that have really good information is Memorial Sloan Kettering and MD Anderson. Both have sort of information about supplements and herbals and sort of precautions to take. And the difficult part is finding those medication herbal combinations and is that harmful or not. So those two websites do a really nice job of that. Does Shaklee have any sort of resources available for that if someone had a question about that?
Absolutely. We have a medical affairs email address that they can email with any questions that they have, and they will respond appropriately. And that response may be to send them back to their particular physician if there's, you know, dosages and such that they're unaware of on their medication. But absolutely, we do have those resources at hand.
Yeah. So talk about interactions.
And there's a
like
great
that.
resource as well. There's a website, we can put a link to it, that has a lot of information from our Shaklee research physicians as well as some medical doctors with some amazing articles about all the different things with supplementation and your health.
Some of the other things, this was a 2015 U.S. News and World Report article I kind of looked at. and we had talked about this a little bit, was something called L-glutamine may help with decreasing peripheral neuropathy, which happens with a lot of chemotherapy treatments.
Right.
It interferes with seizure medication, so you can't use that. And you said that Shaklee has something similar?
We have over 350 products with lots of different ingredients, and you can we can do research on an individual basis based on what products are you interested in. I like to sit one-on-one with customers or patients whenever they contact me and say, I'd like to start a regimen, let's have a discussion. So a lot of the times we'll have a back and forth of things that I'm aware of that are good for them to add to their regimen and things that they have questions for me about. And we can go through, Shaklee is very direct, and they have the label to everything accessible online. So you never have to question what you're going to get in a certain product. So we can pull every label of any product that you would want to discuss and talk about what's in it.
But I think much of the issues I've heard with supplements is sort of the variability in the product ingredients. So I feel comfortable when you say they really test it and they really look at it to make sure that what's in it is what they say is in it.
I think it speaks well to a company that's been in business for over 60 years in this particular industry to say they've never had a recall. Wow. I would challenge somebody to find a drug company that could say the same.
That is true. That is true. And the other thing that we normally say after cancer treatment or even during is a multivitamin, calcium. Those are always important.
Yes.
Especially for postmenopausal women.
Yes.
The calcium is a big need because you lose calcium. And so do you have products that would address those needs?
Yeah, we have something called Osteomatrix that's made exactly for that. And it's excellent for people in that position that need that additional calcium.
Good. So if someone was interested and they wanted to talk to you about an individual plan, what would you recommend then?
We have one particular plan so I'll step back for a minute. Our basic multivitamin, a lot of people hear all this amazing things about Shaklee and how much they spend in research and how much they are committed to quality, and they think it must be so expensive, I could never afford it, so I'm not even going to ask. Their basic multivitamin is a comparable price to something you can buy at your local health food store, drugstore, that's not tested, that doesn't have the quality ingredients. So I don't want anybody to ever feel like their health is not important enough to ask the questions. There's something out there for every situation and every budget. But Shaklee launched a couple years ago something called the Life Plan, and it is a fully comprehensive nutritional supplementation plan. It has the Life Shake that we've talked about, the meal replacement Life Shake that has the 24 grams of protein, all your vitamins, minerals, a pre and a probiotic, as well as all your omegas are in that one shake. And it also has a strip of vitamins that comes along with that. And inside of that strip of vitamins, you're getting all of your major things that you need to attack as far as a supplement is concerned. You're going to get your B complex, your C complex. You're also getting some Cardamax, your basic multivitamin, and something we have called Vivix. Vivix is resveratrol, and there are many different studies in place right now that have shown that the amazing healing properties of this particular, it's what comes from a muscadine grape, what's in wine. It's the really good stuff in red wine without all the bad effects of a wine. And that comes in this Life Plan. The Life Plan's set up so that it's good for 30 days. You get 2 canisters of the shake. There's 15 shakes in each one, and then you get 30 days, so you get 30 strips, and they just fit right in your pocketbook. It's a very easy way to fit into your life. I have a shake personally every single day for breakfast because I don't have time for anything else, but I have a very full and busy day, and I need something to start my day off right. And the very few times that I don't have that shake anymore, I just don't feel as well. I don't have as much energy to carry me through the day. So I can tell a huge difference in just making small changes in your everyday routine can really make a big difference. That Life Shake is also the basis, however, of our 180 weight loss program. So you can use that. It's a very versatile product as far as what it's available to be used for. And we have many options for protein as well. We have soy protein and we have whey protein. We also have a specialized sports performance line for athletes. And there's a couple of things in that line that's fantastic for cancer patients, one of which is our Hydrate product. Cancer patients often deal with dehydration and upset stomach and nausea, and these things will help settle their stomach. And it has a lot of electrolytes and such to help keep the hydration in their bodies. So it's really essential when you're in that process of treatment.
So some of your products sound like the Life Plan sounds like anyone would benefit from it.
Absolutely.
But then other things may be geared specifically, like the electrolyte drink. Well, do you have that for children too?
Absolutely.
Because-
My children drink it. We turn it into popsicles and slushies and do all kinds of fun stuff with it. The
nice.
same thing with the shakes. My children drink those shakes. My son actually needed to gain weight. So we would add a half a shake to his breakfast in the morning to help him put weight on because he needed the extra protein. So it's a very versatile product. Like I said, you can use it not just to lose weight. I use it to maintain and to keep my energy going. So it's one of my favorite products.
So morning, you have a
Yes,
shake, and
I do
that
every
starts
day.
out
That
your
starts
day.
my day, and then at lunch I take my strip of vitamins, and it gives me that boost of energy to get through that kind of sluggish afternoon hour that most of us always hit. And before Shaklee, and before being really good about a vitamin regimen for myself, because of course, as parents and moms, we tend to put ourselves last. And I wasn't feeling well for a long time and kind of put myself last. And finally, I looked at my son and I looked at my husband and I thought, why am I not doing this for me? And I was always tired and in the bed with my kids like 5 minutes after they were asleep because I was just exhausted at the end of
You
a
were
long,
asleep
full
too.
day. I was asleep too. After 2 weeks of being on this strip, I could tell so much difference in my energy. I was up cleaning my pantry one night at 10:30, and my husband called and said, "What is going on? Normally by now you've called and told me you're in bed."
Right.
And so I can tell a huge difference just in my everyday ability to get through the day with a positive attitude and with lots of energy, and I attribute that to my Shaklee lifestyle.
I like that. And then you also mentioned that, and maybe we talked about this before, the cleaning products,
Yes.
because cleaning products are very expensive, and you have to have one for one thing, one for that, and one for, and it adds up, and then
It
you have them
does.
in all the bathrooms. And
Yeah.
so you said there's sort of a more comprehensive.
Yes. We have something
Group-
called a Get Clean Kit.
Okay.
The Get Clean Kit for $100 will replace all of the basic cleaners in your house. It's going to have a dishwash in it. It's going to have your all-purpose cleaner in it. It's going to have some laundry detergent in there for you and all the things that you would use every day. And this $100 kit is all very concentrated. Something called Basic H is our everyday cleaner. And with the Basic H, you get 3 spray bottles. One spray bottle is your all-purpose cleaner. It takes, I believe, a half a teaspoon of Basic H to make a whole spray bottle
Wow.
of your all-purpose everyday cleaner. A degreaser takes 2 tablespoons or teaspoons, and then your window cleaner takes 2 drops. And this bottle of Basic H is going to last a family like mine an average of 6 to 9 months. And you're replacing your Comet, your Fantastic, your Windex, and all these different things. And they actually did a lot of research and figured out that that $100 kit would equal $3,400 in your average grocery store to go and buy those cleaners all the time like we do every week or every 2 weeks or 3 weeks as we're walking through the store.
Right.
The biggest thing people will say about the cleaners is, but my house doesn't smell clean. My house has no smell really because they don't have fragrances. You have to keep in mind when you're buying traditional cleaners, those strong fragrances are based in chemicals. So you have to be careful what you're putting in and around yourself
Right.
every single day.
Right.
So we love the cleaners. We've been on them for over 7 years, and it's one of our favorite things. And the other really nice thing is when my kids go to clean, I never have to worry about them having any chemical burns, getting it in their eyes or in their mouth or in their face in the
Inhaling
diluted
it,
format,
yes.
inhaling. I had terrible allergies before I had Shaklee. I would get migraine headaches. I would have allergy attacks after I cleaned my own house, and I never connected that it was because of the chemicals that I was using to clean. When I started cleaning with Shaklee, I hardly ever have a headache. I no longer have migraines, and I no longer get allergy shots.
Well, that's an endorsement right there,
Yeah,
right?
it's saved our family in many different ways. And so many friends, it's a wonderful opportunity to share Shaklee. I never thought I would do this as a business per se, but as a mom who saw something that made such a huge impact on her family, I started sharing that with other friends and other family, and they started using it and loving it, and they would share it, and it grew very, for lack of a better term, it grew my business very organically. And it's a small business for me because I also do have another career, but it gives me a lot of joy to help other people and to share when I can and make time to do things like this. Hope Abounds chose to partner with Shaklee for several reasons, but one of the main reasons was not just for all the amazing things it can do for individuals and their health, but if you choose to become a member under the Hope Abounds umbrella, Hope Abounds is a Shaklee distributor. They were able to become a distributor at no cost because Shaklee wants to support the nonprofits. And if you purchase anything as a member under the Hope Abounds umbrella, a portion of your proceeds, every single purchase you make through Hope Abounds, comes back to them as a donation. I just think that's a fantastic way to support. So every single time you go into the grocery store and you buy laundry detergent, that's not going to help anybody except for the company that you bought it from in the grocery store. So if you're buying all these things, your skincare and your vitamins and your laundry detergent and your cleaners, things that you buy every day anyway, just make a simple transition. You can have it online. It's shipped right to your door. And the other thing we love about Shaklee is there's no commitment to have a product come all the time. You don't have to make a monthly purchase. You don't have to make a minimum amount of a purchase. There's no forced piece to it. They want you to love it and use it as you need it. And if you just love our cleaners and just use our cleaners, that's wonderful, but you're probably not going to need to make an order very often.
Right. Well, it sounds like something I need to take advantage of from hearing you describe it.
It's a wonderful product and a wonderful company.
Yeah. So you said that, how would people find out? Is it under your website or Hope Abounds website?
Hope Abounds will have a link. We'll post it this evening on their Facebook page and make sure it's already on the website. We're under the categories there on the website, and you can click that link. But I always love for new customers to call or contact me first, so I'm also going to have my contact information out there as well.
Okay.
For first-time customers, I always love to talk to you first, walk you through the Shaklee difference in the process, answer any specific questions to what your needs are. I can set you up as a member, and once you're a member with a $19.99 one-time lifetime membership fee, or if you buy a kit like the Get Clean kit, there's absolutely no fee whatsoever to join, which I think is fantastic. So once you're a member, you'll have access to a website 24/7. You just put in your email address, the password that you've established, and you can purchase anytime you want to after you've become that initial member.
Great. Well, and I think it's important, we've focused on some of our previous episodes about eating well, exercising, being mindful, support of the people around you or people going through similar circumstances. This just sounds like yet another way to be healthy and to be the best that you can be. Is that what you would say?
Absolutely. I think anytime that you can, again, take control of your own health and make every good decision that you can make about your body and what you do with it, you only get one. And I just think to treat it as best as you possibly can is really the only way to go. If you want to get up every day and feel well and be able to face your day with confidence and health and a healthy attitude because you feel so good, what's better than that?
It's worth a try, right?
It's worth a try. Yeah. Shaklee, one of the things we love is they're very innovative, and they just released a new skincare line called Youth. And it used to be, it was always one thing or the other. You either chose a skincare line because you could see results and it really worked, but you had to take the chance of all the chemicals that you were adding to your skin through, your skin's your largest organ. So when you put on that makeup and that skincare, it's going right into that bloodstream. And there was always this give or take. Either you took the line that had the chemicals because you felt like it worked so you could see a difference, or you knew natural was better even though maybe you didn't really see the results that you hoped to see. And now we have the best of both worlds with Youth. It's come together. It has over 2,500 ingredients that are not in it, the normal toxins and chemicals that you would find in almost all skincare lines out there today. But it's actually effective. They have clinical results. 100% of women saw a difference in their skin. Not 99, not 97, 100%. I've only been using it for about 4 days, and I love it. So.
And you mentioned with any of the Shaklee products, if people are dissatisfied, which it doesn't sound like you get that, that they can return it, right?
Absolutely. It's 100% money-back guarantee. Wow. And I thought that was quite substantial for a company to say, sure, return your empty bottle to me, and you say it did not, you took it the way suggested, it was recommended to be taken on the label, and you can tell me that you absolutely didn't see a difference.
Right.
You just don't hear that though.
Yeah. So again, I want to emphasize to folks that if you're in treatment, make sure you talk to your doctor about what supplements that you're thinking about taking or you're taking. It's just good to be honest in case there are interactions. And then if you're moving forward even after treatment, there may be other medications that you may get interactions with, because it's a vitamin, it still could interact.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Brandia, I want to thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
coming this evening and talking to us about the Shaklee products. And sounds pretty exciting.
Yes.
I'm thinking about those cleaners for my house.
We're going to get you started.
I know. So I wanted to say that September 12th will be our next Focusing on You segment. The month of September will be focusing on genetics and how they relate to cancer treatment. And you can always watch previously recorded episodes on our website, which is hopeabounds.org. There's also a Hope Abounds app, and you can find it on Roku. Where there's also Hope Abounds on Facebook, so a lot of different ways. And Brandia, thank you so much for coming this evening.